Hello, my name is Stu Hartenstein. I'm the Central Region Director, and I am very excited to touch base with all of you here today to welcome you to our 2022 5-week virtual umpires preparation course. I'm very excited to be operating this course out of the Central Region and offering you all some high quality instruction with our instructors here from the Central Region, but nonetheless really excited to have all of you here and willing to invest in your growth and development. What I'd like to do in this welcome video is really just two things. Number one, I'm going to go ahead and outline and intro the class so that you know exactly how it's laid out, what it looks like, and what's expected of you. And then secondly, I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk about how to get into the Google Classroom, how to navigate it, and how to use it. So those two things are largely the scope here of my purpose here today. And again, very excited to have each of you here and really want to give you all some kudos here for investing in your own growth and development and what I think will be a really beneficial class for you in no matter what your role is or experience level here as an umpire in our organization. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to share my screen, and that will go ahead and allow us to do those two things here on our objectives list here today. And again, that objective list is for us to, number one, intro the class, and then secondly, we would also like to go ahead and take a look at ways in which we can navigate the Google Classroom. So the first thing here that I want to go ahead and touch base with today is just the course overview. And like I said, this is a 5-week virtual course. It's going to leverage the Google Classroom, and it starts this Sunday, March 13th, and will take us the next 5 weeks to get through. So there's 5 weeks of content beginning March the 13th. That's this Sunday. You'll do that in a self-paced way here throughout the weeks. And then finally, that last week, April 17th, there's no content that week of April 17th. That's actually Easter. But that week, then you can take the self-administered final exam on the Google Classroom. So that is our time together here, this 5-week class beginning on March the 13th and then culminating with our final exam the week of April the 17th. Now, the class will be a blend of what we call asynchronous and synchronous instruction. And these are two words that have become much more noteworthy to us in the pandemic era. But nonetheless, when we refer to asynchronous instruction, we're just talking about self-paced lessons that are going to make up each week. And there's actually 4 of those that go with each of those domains, as I'll talk about a little bit later here, the instructional domains that frame the class. But nonetheless, here you will have 4 self-paced lessons to go through each week, and they will end then with a checkpoint that is technically due at Sunday's live meeting. Each Sunday you'll have a live meeting. That brings us to the second major part of the class. That's the synchronous part. Each Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, there is one live class session that will be hosted by our instructors. They will have an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you may have had from the week. They will actually present some content. That's probably the bulk of it. For about 35 to 40 minutes, they'll present a lesson on an upcoming topic, and then give you an opportunity to interact with them if you have any questions or anything like that through any of the content from that previous week. So it's a blend then of asynchronous or self-paced lessons that you do during the week, and then each Sunday you'll meet live for 1 hour from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern with our instructors to kind of go ahead and get caught up and give you an opportunity to ask any questions. As I mentioned, the class goes ahead and ends on the 17th that week. You'll have an opportunity throughout that week, the week of the 17th, to complete that self-administered final exam that will cover both rules and mechanics that would have been covered throughout the 5 weeks of the class. Now, the last thing to make sure that we keep in mind so that you know exactly the scope of the class is that the whole purpose of this is to make content more accessible to umpires around the region and then ultimately around our program. And many of us have oftentimes wanted to go to our umpire academies, but just haven't been able to navigate the time away from families, from personal life, or even from our professional lives. So our goal in offering this preparation class is to take the typical classroom session that is often offered at each of our umpire schools or our umpire academies and provide that information to each of you. So the curriculum for this course is all modeled after the classroom sessions that make up then each of our umpire academies. I've talked a little bit about our weekly structure here before. Remember, I talked about those 4 asynchronous lessons that you'll do each week. They cover the 4 major domains of instruction. That's effort and professionalism, rules instruction, plate instruction, and then finally base instruction. And each week is basically scaffolded or segmented or progressed, however you want to say it, to kind of start at the basics and kind of work our way up from those fundamentals. So those 4 lessons then will have, like, lesson 1 will be effort and professionalism from week 1. Lesson 2 from week 1 will also be on rules instruction, and you'll just keep going down from there. And the course will follow that format each week during your asynchronous instruction, those 4 lessons each week. The lessons are going to be a combination of videos that have been produced by Little League instructors, umpire instructors, as well as articles that have been written by Little League to help us all kind of understand what exactly is expected of us and how to do this thing called umpiring. Each umpire will then complete, after those 4 lessons, a checkpoint. That checkpoint is a fill-in-the-blank document that you can print out or you can type right into, but that generally covers the rules that were covered that week, so that you have kind of a guided reading, fill-in-the-blank type worksheet here, if you will, that follows along with the rules, so that you master those rules that are presented each week during rules instruction. And then during the live sessions, we'll touch base really with the plate and base instruction as we move through the class. Answers will be checked, and we'll discuss all those in each of our live sessions. It's one of the first things our instructors will do each Sunday when you meet. They'll go over the checkpoint, take any questions, go over those answers, and then after that, and we'll get to that here in just a second, during the live sessions, they'll go ahead and touch base with some of the major topics from plate and base instruction as well. As I mentioned, there's 1 weekly live session each Sunday. You'll meet for an hour from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. Those sessions will be done through Google Meet, and those sessions will be linked on our Google Classroom. I also have a document that'll go out in a welcome letter to you that has all those Google Meeting links for each of those weeks. So just click on that Google Meet link, and that'll go ahead and take you into that session here each Sunday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. The sessions may be recorded pending technology. Our goal is to record them and then post them. But the whole purpose of these weekly live sessions is to, number 1, provide you an overview of the coming week, provide you with an opportunity to interact with our instructors for Q&A, and then lastly, our instructors will kind of expand upon some of the major topics necessary from that week's worth of instruction. Here's a look at some of those topics here from each of those weeks. Remember that you will meet live for 1 hour with one of our instructors or multiple of our instructors from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. You've got the whole programming listed there here. I've also got this included in an outline on the Google Classroom that I'll show you as well. But nonetheless, here, those are the major topics from week 1 to week 5 as we prepare you all for that final exam here that you'll take the week of April 17th. Now, before I get into navigating the Google Classroom, kind of the last thing that I want to do is at least introduce you to our philosophy here in the Central Region and generally in Little League in general, to kind of make sure that we're all on the same page, both as learners and as instructors as we embark on this 5-week course together. First of all, our goal as instructors is to teach, to equip, and to empower you. We're here to build people up and infuse confidence. Our goal is to make sure that you leave a more confident umpire, not only in your abilities, but also in your knowledge here too. So keep in mind here that the course is open to umpires of all experience levels and roles within the program. Oftentimes I say that I have forgotten more than I've known. I used to use that a lot when I was a basketball coach, that I had forgotten more than I actually knew. And being reminded of things, whether they be basic or more perceived to be, quote, advanced, being reminded of those things is learning along the same time. So a lot of you may be instructing and giving the same information, but hearing it and seeing it and going through it again from a different perspective definitely helps us to learn it better in a different capacity, especially here in the virtual space. Secondly, in addition to trying to teach, to equip, and empower, we're going to make sure that we focus our instruction on the fundamentals and building proper habits, because it is the fundamentals and our proper habits that we rely on when situations get tough. So when things are hairy, close game, tight game, whether you're working the World Series, the regional, a state tournament, or just a league game, our fundamentals, our proper habits, that's what we rely on. So regardless of where we're at in the class, just realize here that we will continuously emphasize the fundamentals and proper habits. Things like proper use of eyes, for example, being chest to ball, getting on the line for fair foul. All of those things then are habits and fundamentals, small things here that we'll spend a lot of time with and emphasize to make sure that we build those so that when situations get hairy and we need to rely on those, they are second nature to us. The third major principle here that we have philosophically is that we're going to examine our current theories. And if those current theories and our sharing of ideas no longer make sense, we need to reject those that no longer make sense or no longer prove to be useful. And in order to prove that they are no longer useful, we use a scientific-based approach. This idea that we use analytics, film, studies, discussions, surveys, those kinds of things here to kind of give us an idea of maybe what may work better in certain situations. For example, taking angle distance plays at 120 as opposed to 90 degrees, which is something that our instructors will talk about throughout the duration of the course. So teaching with a scientific-based approach that has kind of tried some of these newer ideas and philosophies, and we see some of the benefits, and we have those recorded in video analysis. And you'll learn here that our instructors and our mode of instruction relies a lot on video and a lot on that evidence-based here to provide us then with some things to think about. Maybe not necessarily the gold standard or absolutes in umpiring, but things to think about to make us or provide us with better tools to become better umpires. And then lastly, the other guarantee that you can get from our instructors is that they will always, always, always explain the why. And they're going to use guiding principles that will be applicable in one situation that may also be applicable in others. And as we go through things, again, these are all then different expectations that you can have of our instructors. That's fair, but also then kind of come into it with an open mind that we are here to share ideas. And some of these things are not absolute. Some of these things are not just pure black and white. We are here then to share ideas, provide you with some things to think about, kind of build your toolbox. You take what you want and what you don't want, and then apply them to your umpiring here, hopefully to make you better on the diamond here in 2022. Now, that's the first part of the endeavors here today. That's to go ahead and outline the class. The second thing that I would like to go ahead and do here today is to go ahead and take us through then the Google Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to share my screen here with you. What pops up right now is the Google Classroom. Now, you all should have received an email from us, Central Region Umpires, with the registration link, so the link to this class, and then the class code, which is also listed over here on the screen. Now, one thing before I get into this even more so, a lot of times these emails that come from Google, either from our account or even that are generated from the Google Classroom, they oftentimes bounce into our junk folders or our spam folders. So you want to continuously check your junk and spam folders here to make sure that you're not missing any of the communications from centralregionumpires@gmail.com or from the online preparation course. But nonetheless, the link that we provided you in that email should have taken you then to this class, and then you can just use this class code to go ahead and join. Now, in the class, there are here at the top of the page a couple different buttons here, or a couple different menus, and I'm circling or hovering over in these. The first of which is the stream, and that's exactly where we have now. The stream could probably be construed as our homepage, and if you take a look at it, I've got a copy of the welcome letter that was sent to you right here. Okay, so all that stuff is there. You can see the class invite link is there along with the code. And then you've got directions here. If you are a non-Google user account, you've got directions with how exactly to access that right in that as well. I've also got a listing of what exactly the Google Classroom looks like as I'm talking about it here now, what the week looks like, and things of that nature here too. So the welcome letter tries to give you a lot of the same information that this video has. But again, this stream option here on our course homepage, that's our homepage, and in this area is where you'll find some announcements, posts, links, and things like that that you'll have. Now, for each week that you have coursework or classwork, you're going to use the classwork segment. So I'm going to go over here and click the classwork, and in the classwork segment, this takes us to a new page, as you see here, and this then has all of our folders for each week. Now, you'll see I've got one folder here for course information that includes the welcome letter, the PowerPoint that I went through in this video, and then it also has live meeting links and outlines here to those meeting links. So remember, each week that you have a live meeting, you've got that date, the topic, who's presenting, and then all you've got to do is click on that Google link right there, and that'll get you all hooked up into the classroom. So the course information, really a good spot here for us to go ahead and navigate with. The other thing too here that you'll also see, and I'll go back to the classwork here. So our stream is our homepage. The classwork then is our course information here, but you've also then got an outline of each week. So week 1 here coming up March 13th through the 19th. As I mentioned, you have 4 different lessons. And if you click on these, effort and professionalism, for example, you've got directions there and then the links to go ahead and use. Similarly, in lesson 1.2 rules instruction, you've got what exactly you're supposed to do. And then you're just supposed to go ahead and watch that video at that time. Okay, so videos and articles all linked here. 1.3, the plate instruction, you've got directions for a couple videos to go ahead and watch. Base instruction, you've got a few videos to go ahead and watch. And then lastly, you've got a checkpoint right there is Rule 2 and Rule 9, which are covered here in the week. So again, each week you'll go through and you'll watch and read the content from each of these 4 lessons, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. And once you're done with that, and you create any notes that you want to, you'll go ahead and do the checkpoint. And remember that checkpoint, those answers will be reviewed by our instructors as we get into the live instruction. Now that is what we're going to follow in each week of the class. So week 2 is no different. You can see that there's information and links all listed here as I click on them. And then again, you'll go through each of those lessons and then complete the regulations and those different types of rules checkpoints that are listed there for you. So the class itself, pretty easy to follow in terms of the Google Classroom. Just wanted to give us an idea of how exactly to navigate it. If you're looking for people, you've got your teachers that are listed there. Some of the students have already registered as well, and things like that. But remember, here at the top of the page, Stream is the home page, and we'll have announcements there for you. But remember that your best friend here and where you can find the majority of the resources, the links, and the information is in this classwork. Remember, course information has a lot of different things here, live meeting links for each week. And then, as we said, you'll get used to using these each week for the content. Go through each of those lessons and then complete the checkpoints. Now, other than that, that's really all I have to go ahead and go through here with you today in this welcome video. Hopefully you got an understanding now of, number 1, what exactly the course looks like, where it came from, and what exactly will be covered in the course. And then secondly, you understand how exactly to navigate the Google Classroom as well. We are really excited and are very thankful that all of you are here investing in your growth and development. We hope that you take away a few things here from the class to apply not only to your own craft, but potentially as instructors at your local leagues and districts as well. Thank you for your commitment here. We hope you enjoy the class. Please do not be afraid to ask any questions to our instructors. We're here to help and help you develop here as well. We're excited. We're glad you're here, and we're looking forward to working here together. Thanks for being here, and good luck in the class.